time. Cool.
You have failed this city.
Winter is coming.
Star-Lord.
Finish him! Hadouken! Fatality.
And welcome to the Free Your Geek podcast. Or should we even call it a show now? Because we're not really a podcast. We're doing both audio and video. So just welcome to Free Your Geek, ladies and gentlemen.
We need to rethink what we call our endeavor.
Yeah. So we're back in studio, guys. Thank you for last week. We had most commented video we've had ever.
Who knew it would only be you
And it
chatting?
was just me, my ugly mug on the screen. But we are back in the studio after our last week little kerfuffle. Kerfuffle is a word I'm using. To my left, for those that are watching, we have KB.
What's up?
And the Don.
Hello.
So welcome, gentlemen. We got a lot of stuff going
we
on. We got a little packed show because we're basically combining last week's show that we wanted to do, the Iron Fist preview, the Beauty and the Beast preview. We're going to do it all kind of now, but now we're going to do like more of a review. We didn't get a chance to do a preview. Now we'll review it up over here. We're also going to be looking at comments. So Jonathan, hey, what's up? John's a buddy of mine. So welcome. Enjoy
Hello,
the
buddy
show,
John.
sir. What's up, John? So we got a lot of stuff going on today. So what do we want to talk about first? So we want to talk about the movie that's dropping this weekend. There's a big movie.
What's it called again?
This is my new movie dropping.
It's basically a group of teenagers with attitude, as it used to be called on the original
Straight Outta
television
Compton?
show.
Straight out of Compton.
It is Straight Outta Compton.
Oh man.
So Power Rangers is dropping tomorrow,
Yes.
and I'm excited for it. It's a little bit the previews are a little bit darker than I'd like to admit that I want to really see this. I want it to be a little bit more over the top and cheesy personally. But I think it's going to be a really cool starting point. I already heard that there's 5 sequels planned.
For Power Rangers,
For Power
5
Rangers,
sequels.
5 sequels. It's going to be interesting.
Power Rangers Ninja, Power Rangers Turbo, Power Rangers Space Force.
And now that's a great question. So this
Power
is,
Rangers, we ran out of titles.
That's it.
well, here's the deal. So we were talking about this a little bit prior. KB, you never really got into the Power Rangers.
No, I watched
you,
a
you
bit
were
of
kinda,
the first season.
You were kind of out of
kinda.
the age range though, like when it was like in 90.
I was like junior high, so.
Well, it was what
No, I
90.
would say then he was definitely. I mean, we're
had
all the
friends
I was
that
I
were
was
into
12.
it.
I was 12 when the
I was
first
like
season,
13,
like 95,
14.
95. That's
Yeah.
so.
So yeah, I was probably a little out of the age range.
So you were kind of out of the
like-
age range there, but
where it was too cheesy for me. Like it was interesting, but it was a little cheesy for me.
right.
Yeah.
So it's a cool, and then it spawned tons of other shows, as we know,
Yeah.
those that kind of grew up with it. But let's talk about this a little bit. So Don, how versed are you with Power Rangers?
I loved Power Rangers. Power Rangers really, really picked up for me once they introduced Tommy. You know what I mean?
So did you have like the underwear and everything? And
I
the-
didn't.
no?
You know what? I was never one for character
superhero
underwear or
underoos.
anything like that. No, I did have all the action figures where you'd press their morpher and their head would flip.
Yep.
I had the Dragon Dagger. I think. I mean, like at that time, Power Rangers came out with so many different villains every week that you could only really buy like Goldar and the other 2 like henchmen along with Rita and Zed.
Babu, and I can't remember the other one's name.
But
Finster was the one that made the monsters. I can't remember
Yes.
the other guy's name. I know if any listeners that are watching on Facebook Live right now, feel free to comment with that. I can't remember the other one's name. Google that for me. And for those that are watching, feel free to share this to your page too. You have that share button. If you want to share it to your Facebook page, get more viewers on here, we'd really appreciate that.
Gets the conversation rolling.
Yeah, let's have some convo. Okay, so I kind of promised this last week. Let's do a really quick countdown. I'm not going to play the intro, but just off the top of your head, can you give me top 3 or just favorite 3 Rangers? Because you did you follow consistently from Mighty Morphin to Turbo to Ninja or whatever? I only did Mighty Morphin, and then that's when I
so
stopped.
let's see. After the that horrible Ivan Ooze movie, and I mean, I want to say I dropped off after. Let's see, our second set of Rangers made their way out. Because first we lost Jason, we lost Zach, and we lost Trini. And then we ended up with 3 people I can't even remember.
Rocky, Adam, and Aisha.
And Aisha. Wow.
Flashback, huh?
No, not even a flashback. I just thought of how I can't even say like racist the show was. They
Yeah.
replaced every single character with the same type of character.
Yeah, to an extent. To an extent.
To an extent, Adam was Asian descent. Yeah. Aisha
was
took
an
Zach's
African-American,
place.
yeah.
I mean, that is pretty crazy. I watched a little spoof on the Power Rangers all over Facebook right now, and I'm like, wow, they're pretty spot on with it.
I want you to say that Brian actually mentioned that the Ivan Ooze movie was actually good.
Oh, Bri. The movie was so horrible that they had to put a TV episode out to explain, like, oh, we're going to give them their ninja powers just on the show now.
Yeah, but
I think that was more for like children that didn't go. Their parents didn't take them to the theater for continuity.
Oh.
So let's just set the stage. We're going to be doing Power Ranger talk for a little bit. Then we're going to get into Iron Fist on Netflix. Then we're going to be talking about our tournament because that's still going on. There's been some cool things happening with that. And then finally we'll go Beauty and the Beast. And then we'll segue into our countdown, which is the top 3 animated shows or films that we'd like to see turned into a live action movie.
Yes.
This is a fun countdown.
This is going to be. I did a lot of research for this.
I didn't do a ton of research, but
good for you. Good
Second
for
you
I
said
kind
it,
of
I
knew the
know.
ones that I wanted.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I was right there with
you. I was kind of ready, so.
So just to kind of cap it off on the Power Ranger talk before the movie drops, top 3 Power Ranger characters.
Pink, yellow, green.
No,
that's what I know.
That's pretty
yellow,
close.
green. Well, no, for me, Tommy's number 1. I don't even know why I started at the top, but Tommy's number 1. His
fine.
character was so cool. The fact that he like kind of punked Jason out, I thought it was awesome because I never liked Jason.
Jason was like the stuffy, like goody-goody.
Yeah, I didn't care for Jason. Second to Tommy was Zach, the breakdancing ranger, like all of his moves.
Do that
like,
one more time. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he had dance move like karate. I thought that was awesome. But Billy, man. Billy was a beast too. Like I always when we talked earlier, you guys asked me who my favorite Ninja Turtle was. I told you it was Donatello because he's the brains.
He's the brains.
Billy was their brains, who poor guy had a horrendous time on the show, like the actor. And shout out to you, Billy. We feel you, man.
So I just want to say that Brian's saying green, white, and Zed, and John was saying red, black, and blue. So those are again. I think that kind of correlates to what we were talking
I
about.
was gonna say John and I were pretty close. I really did not like Jason.
I'm gonna go the reverse.
Okay.
Number 3 holds a special place in my heart. Kimberly, the Pink Ranger.
Because you loved her.
First crush when I was like 11 years old, 12 years old.
Actually, the only one of those Rangers who actually had a career outside of Power Rangers.
Amy Jo Johnson, yeah.
Yes.
Born in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, by the way. So she was a gymnast.
Yeah.
And I thought the gymnastic moves as a Ranger I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Number 2, I'm not even going with the Ranger. I'm going with the villain, Goldar.
Goldar was awesome.
Goldar was, to me, like he turned into a joke in later seasons. So badass. Like that first, like when he fought Jason or Tommy in that whatever that dimension was, which was like that black room with the mist. Like he was amazing. Like this normal human being, like having to fight Goldar. I just thought it was like, wow, the odds are insurmountable.
Yeah.
And then
Jeff, you stalker.
yeah, Rich. I'm gonna be nice to Rich. We are staying PG-13. Rich, I actually want to have on the show. We're gonna talk about maybe doing next week. So I gotta
Nice.
kind of reach out to him. I want to talk to him about that. But we'll talk off air here about that. And then I want to say number 1, similar to you, Tommy, except not the White Ranger. I hated the White Ranger.
Really?
Green Ranger.
Green Ranger?
I just like the fact that he was evil and then kind of like turned.
Yeah.
To the side, out of the darkness into the side of the light. And then Rita started draining his power and he was fighting on borrowed time. And even though he knew his powers could fail at any time, he would still go out and fight. And that's the mark of a hero. Like, I might not have this power all the time, but I have to try to make a difference. I have to try to fight. I have to try to be a hero. And I think that's just amazing.
It is. One of the best episodes of Power Rangers ever. Green Ranger and Red Ranger in the mist dimension going at each other. Tommy draws not the dragon dagger, but the actual sword, and he's about to end Jason.
Shish kebab him.
Shish kebab him, and Zordon like teleports him back. That fight was awesome. The two of them fighting each other was probably some of the best fighting you would get on that show.
I just want to, I don't mean to interrupt you, but yes, I agree. And then Brian just mentioned James Vanderbeek as Rocky in the short film.
Tell me the short film wasn't awesome.
So for those that haven't seen it, it is a little not safe for work, but go to YouTube and check out the Power Rangers. They did like a Power Rangers, I don't even know what you call it, like a fan film. I guess.
Yeah.
It was a short, and it was phenomenal.
Can I also, if you guys haven't seen the White Ranger versus Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, and it's actually Tommy in this.
Is that Bat in the Sun? I think it's Bat in the Sun. So
Yeah.
they do Bat in the Sun. If you check them out on Facebook and YouTube, they do a super power beatdown, I believe it's
Yep.
called, and the actors are actually pretty good. So it pits usually two random heroes from different, for example, I think it was like Gandalf versus Darth Vader for one of them.
I haven't seen that. I
Yeah,
need to see that.
That's pretty cool.
Wolverine, Wonder Woman.
Yep, Wolverine, Wonder Woman. They did Nathan Drake versus Lara Croft. They've done a couple of cool.
I have seen that one.
They've done so. Check them out too. So yeah, I love the fandom just to like take these characters that are near and dear to all of us, and
Yeah.
then like let's pit them against each other, which is kind of what we're doing in the tournament, which we'll get to a little bit later.
Oh yeah.
So let's segue now. Do we want to say anything about Power Rangers before we switch over now to Iron Fist?
Let's just hope they don't mess this up, because I heard you say you're like, oh, it's kind of darker and this and that. It's still very poppy.
Yeah.
If you really pay attention to, like, if you just like kind of sit back and not listen to what's going on the screen, and you're just watching, like, wow, this looks really dark. But every time I see the trailer for it now, I'm like, oh, it's definitely poppy. It's not what should be for us. They're gonna try to rope in the younger
Right.
audience.
I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not into Rangers, but I'm hoping it doesn't fall into like that last Fantastic Four movie kind of category where it's, you know what I mean, where it's just,
that was
I haven't even seen that movie.
yeah. So moving on.
Moving on. So the newest Marvel show, Netflix show, has dropped last week. We were going to do a preview. I have finished the series. I know you guys are still.
I'm on like episode 8. So I'm pretty
6.5.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do the first 6 episodes roughly, give or
Well, that's
take.
what the critics got to do before they
Right.
reviewed it.
So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
kind of give a review. I will keep this. It's going to be semi-spoilers for the first 6 episodes. We won't get into too much detail. I won't say anything that happens. So Don, I'm going to kind of pitch it to you as far as once we start talking about stuff that's past what you've seen. You know what I mean? Like, what's the last thing you remember?
Don't go past the chemist.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
We'll kind of use that as our point.
Okay, very cool. So we'll go from there. So basically what's happening is Iron Fist was released. Critics have panned it, but for the most part, the user reviews are pretty good.
It's
And-
got the 5-star full on.
so what do we think is
Yeah.
the difference here between what the critics are saying for the Netflix?
I can identify with something that I read, and that was a lot of people don't like this Danny Rand. They point out something, and it may be something I haven't seen yet, but they say that Madame Gao says, "Oh, you're not a good Iron Fist."
Yeah.
And I think I got up to that a point in that where she's like, "Oh," and I'm not trying to give away too much here, but she's just like, "Oh, you know, the other Iron Fists would have been more fierce than you were," and if that's what those critics are talking about, that's stupid, because that's what's making him a hero.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give away the whole situation, but the situation, I think Jeff knows
No,
what I'm talking
so
about.
let's give
Yeah.
a brief
Yeah,
synopsis. So Danny Rand was in a plane crash with his parents when he was 10 years old. The plane was flying over the Himalayas. He's been gone for 15 years. He comes back to New York City. His parents, his dad was a partner in the Rand Corporation. They have the Rand building. He is technically still a billionaire, but he comes back 15 years later as a 25-year-old kid to New York City with nothing but the clothes on his back and his first generation iPod.
I saw that. Oh,
funny.
It's funny.
And
I love the hip hop music again.
yeah, so again, based on when it was
Yep.
that he crashed, it was 15 years, so it was like
It's
2002.
like 90, late
Outcast.
90s, early
Yeah.
2000s hip
So
hop.
it's like what's popular at that point. So now he's trying to reclaim his identity and his company and his whole thing. And Don, I think you got to this point. We know for the most part, one of the major villains is a group of people called the Hand. And so we've seen them on Daredevil season 2.
Yep.
They make another appearance here, and the basically the duty of Iron Fist is to protect the training facilities. I can't remember. It's like Kunlun or I can't remember the name of it.
The other dimension.
Yeah,
place,
the other place where he was trained to be Iron Fist from the Hand, but now he ventures out into New York City, no longer necessarily just guarding that, but he wants to break down the Hand once and for all.
Yeah.
And essentially, kind of, it's a trope. He wants to find his parents' killers. So the first few episodes kind of deal with like the corporate back and forth, and this guy wants to be back in his company, but they don't have any proof that he actually is Danny Rand, because at 10 years old, you're not going to be giving your thumbprints to anybody. You're not going to have, and it's been 15 years, so everything that you owned or might have that your DNA is long gone.
No family left.
No family left. His parents are dead in a plane crash, or so we think. We don't know.
Yeah.
It hasn't, and no spoilers because we don't find out at the end. We know his father is definitely dead.
Yeah.
Jury's out on his mom because the mom in the first episode gets sucked from the top of the plane, and we never see her body. So is she alive? It's a comic book trope, but we don't know. So let's talk a little bit more now about Danny Rand. So usually a lot of the critics are saying a couple things. One, it's a white guy that's the best at kung fu or any type of martial arts.
He gets
And
his
it's-
butt kicked a lot.
Right, but I understand that part. It's kind of like I forget what the terminology is, but somebody who's white appropriation, taking something that belongs to another culture and being the best at it. And I get that argument, but at the same time, that's the source material,
Yeah.
right? So I'm going to dismiss that right in and of itself.
Whitewashing is the term.
Right, exactly. It's whitewashing and white appropriation, saying
Yeah.
it's kind of like here's a man like for taking from a different ethnicity or whatever. It's something that's kind of identified with another race of people.
What about Nick Fury though? When they say stuff like this, you have to look at it the other way too.
They try to balance it, but then the arguments are, well, Nick Fury isn't as, it's not like you're making Captain America or Tony Stark,
Around
and
Nick Fury.
I get
Yeah.
that. But the big thing I agree with to an extent is the way that they say, and we talked about this a little off air. Danny Rand, Finn Jones, who was Loras Tyrell on Game of Thrones, is playing Danny Rand, and he's very inconsistent. Sometimes he's very naive and childish, and other times he's like spouting off these Zen quotes that are like very serene and kind of very deep almost. And the issue I have with this is everybody's like, well, it's so inconsistent. My argument to that is, and I don't know how you guys want to agree, he crashed when he was 10 years old.
Yeah.
He was raised by monks from 10 to 25 when he comes back to New York. Of course, he's not going to be a fully developed adult because he hasn't grown up as an adult.
Well, it's not even that. Like he could, in some sense, could completely fit in with the monks. He wasn't taught like our westernized style of social upbringing.
Yep.
So the way he tries to interact with the people that we see is like you're saying, like the 10-year-old version of how he imagined them growing up together. But I really feel that by him being with the monks like that, like I don't know, I feel like it puts
in this new world moves at a much faster pace. We're going to think about stuff like there was a when he's kind of locked away. I don't want to get too far in the detail, but there's a part there where it's like, well, why don't you just tell them what they want to hear? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
lie to him.
yeah, like there was just some things there that kind of didn't make sense to people.
When
like,
he's talking
like
with
my wife's sitting there and she's like, why doesn't he just tell them what they want to hear?
Yeah.
So, I get that. I think think about it, the combination of like the things that Jeff said. This happened to him so early in life. He has no idea. The time change coming back, seeing his two best friends growing up as adults.
Yeah.
So
them not
we
understanding,
should
there's
kind
a
of
lot
talk
to
about that a
go
little bit.
through.
That's
It's just a
those are the
lot for a
Meachums.
person. Yep.
We have Ward and Joy
Joy.
Meacham, who were his childhood friends. Who was basically the Meachums were the partners of the Rands when they made the Rand Corporation.
Ward is such a tool.
Yes,
As far as where I am, he's a tool.
he is. He besides Colleen Wing, who is my favorite character in the series.
Yeah.
He's my second favorite character. So watch
Wow.
what
Yeah,
happens
there's a
to
lot
him.
more to him.
Watch what happens to him.
And
That's
you're
all I'm
close.
gonna
Like
say.
there's a lot more that happens with him, like from where you are in the
Yeah.
next. Because I'm only like 2 episodes ahead of you, and in the next
And
2
in those
episodes,
two,
there's
yeah.
a lot of stuff that happens to him. So he is an interesting character. I wasn't feeling him at first, but
I like how he covered certain things up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Send the reporter in here right now. We're going to do an interview in my office. And then hands her all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And so I go back and forth. Like, I can't think of what the father's name is.
Harold.
Harold.
Yep.
But, like, at first I'm like, something's up with Harold. Like,
Yeah.
he's doing some grimy stuff. And as far as I can see, I'm like, oh, no. He he really wants Danny like his assistance in some way. Like
but there's something you don't trust about him though.
the whole time. That's true.
It's no matter how much the story progresses, there's something you don't trust about the guy. Something in his voice, the way he treats Harold. It's like does he love him? Is it tough love? Is it what is it? Like there's just something wrong with the guy.
Punched him in the kidney.
It's just so. I mean, it's way better than what critics have
I agree.
said.
I agree.
Way better.
So Iron Fist
It's for fans.
It is for fans, and that was the quote that Finn Jones made. I think it's by no means a perfect. I would like to see better fight scenes. They do show a lot of cuts around where you can see it's a stuntman, and I get that. Like we were talking about, it's not a parkour expert or a martial arts expert,
Like
it's an
Daredevil,
actor.
you know.
But at the same time, it's like they could have. I think they could have done more. Again, if you're gonna check it out, I think the acting is decent. The story's pretty good. It's a little bit different than Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and
And the
Daredevil.
return of Claire Temple.
And Claire Temple's in it.
She's back,
She's
yeah.
kind of like the thread that pulls them all together. But it's more of a show I think it's more kind of a high profile, kind of like a corporate story a little bit to it, as well as kind of like I'm trying to discover who killed my parents. And it's almost like not a coming of age story, but almost like, I'm trying to find my destiny as Iron Fist.
I think
That's what all these characters are going through in
Yeah.
every single one of these shows. Luke Cage, if you think about it, Jessica Jones, like I think it's that same thing of finding them themselves.
we've
in
only
their
got
powers.
to like even with with Daredevil.
Yep.
Daredevil, we got hit with a lot of action because it was the first out of all these shows to come out. Now we're getting the season ones of like our Jessica Jones, Luke Cage. We're getting the character building shows, even though
I'm looking forward to the Jessica Jones season 2.
I'm looking forward to finally we're getting all of them
Defenders,
together.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is I think that's gonna be great right there. I could deal with I'll be honest with both of you guys. I watched 2 episodes of Luke Cage and I was very disappointed. I'm like, it's hard for me to follow. Which no matter what, I'm going to watch it.
Luke Cage, a lot of people didn't like the Cottonmouth character, who was the main
The
villain.
yeah.
A lot
See,
of people
I love that
I
character.
thought
That was
it
my
was
favorite
fine.
character on the show.
But
So yeah, that's
And Jonathan says he didn't use his chi as much in the show.
yeah.
and when he did use it, it was just
And
like
that's what I'm thinking. I think it's more of like he's still
Learning. It's almost
learning,
like
and
he's
that's what I'm trying to figure out, like how that played out. But, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of fighting, let's go into our next segment and talk about what are we calling the tournament, Don?
March Mayhem.
So yes, March Mayhem. So we're gonna go over to the bracket. We're on round
March
3.
Mayhem, malicious madness. Thursday. At the 59 Media Studio.
These
Kids
guys-
get in for $2.
Because Jeff doesn't drink energy. Jay Free doesn't drink energy drinks. This is the problem.
agua.
So let's go over to the bracket. So let's talk about this. Let's see who won. And as we're going over there, let's see from the. Now I'm going to look at it really close at this computer screen here. Spider-Man and Wonder Woman versus Mr. Fantastic and Deathstroke. And we had Spidey and Wonder Woman make it through based on votes.
Landslide votes.
Yeah.
I want to say like it was like 60 votes ahead on the Spider-Man Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and which is I know is bad. You feel bad for because Fantastic. Reed
It's
Richards
my
is your
boy.
boy.
It's
So
my boy.
Wonder Woman's
Wonder Woman's awesome. The movie's coming out. Let's go back to the bracket here. The next one we have is looks like it was Thor and the Joker versus Venom and Superman. And it looks like the Joker to me was the weak point of this team because Venom and Superman have moved on.
That's it.
I figure once you take the Joker out, Superman and Venom against Thor. I love Thor, but come on, man, taken out. Let's move to the right of the screen here, and we have Dr. Doom and Shazam versus Storm and Bane. I was surprised that Storm and Bane made it to the second round over Solomon Grundy and Phoenix, but
Team No
they
Death.
didn't make it to the next round
Oh no.
because
No,
Dr. Doom and Shazam have moved on and defeated
Shazam!
Storm and Bane. And then in the closest matchup,
Team Bruce.
Team Bruce, the Hulk and Bruce Wayne versus Iron Man and the Flash.
Team Iron Flash.
No, Hulk and Batman
Oh,
eked
Team
out a
Bruce!
win by less than 15 votes, guys.
Wow.
So it was a really good back and forth. But now we're going into our semifinal matchups here. So we have Doctor Doom and Shazam versus the Hulk and Batman. So get your votes in now, guys. Vote on this video. I'll put this image back up on our website, on our Facebook page, For Your Geek Podcast on Facebook, if you're listening to the audio. And then we have Spider-Man and Wonder Woman, which I'm very interested in that team versus Superman and Venom.
Super symbiote.
Spider-Man and Wonder Woman versus Superman.
Because we know Spidey can take Venom. But can Wonder Woman take Superman? Or what if they switch off? What if Wonder Woman fights Venom?
It's a wrap then, but still, like it no matter what, it comes down
to Wonder Woman
it
and
does,
Superman.
100%.
It really does. So
I guess it really depends. If it is Venom and Spidey can dispatch Venom, how long is he going to be out of the fight to assist Wonder Woman when she's fighting Superman? Because that could turn the tide.
I don't know. Depends on where they bring this battle. They bring this battle deep into the earth, and there's no sun for Superman. It's a wrap for Supes.
Yeah.
Or Superman could just take the noble knee and say, Wonder Woman, this one's all you, girl.
I love you. Wonder
I
Woman.
love you.
Well, it depends which version.
Oh, yeah.
New 52 Superman's coming back. He was killed off. Him and Wonder Woman are done romantically. But that was the tournament there, guys. Again, the brackets will be up on our Facebook page. Go in, either vote on this video. And again, everyone who votes, whether it was the first round, second round, we're going to put all your names in a hat, pick one out, and we're going to do I'm thinking it's going to be a $25 gift card to Newberry Comics, but we'll even let the winner specify where they want. We'll give them a number of different stores. We'll do a $25 gift card to one of these stores. Target,
Yeah.
Walmart.
$100 billion.
Oh, you can pay for that, KB.
In Monopoly money.
How about no?
No, it can't be. Real quick, I've got to ask, Brian, what is Robots versus Wrestlers from?
That's from
Is that
How I
from-
Met Your Mother.
Oh, How I Met Your Mother. Oh, man.
That's where Barney
Barney
Stinson
loves it,
wants to go
yes.
to. Robot Wrestlers versus Robots. Yes,
What's the other matchup? Was that?
that was all.
was
Oh,
four.
that's right, because we're down to 2, huh?
We're done.
The Fatal Four.
So just review those again. What do we have?
Okay, you're gonna make me go back to the bracket.
We have Wonder Woman and Spider-Man against Super Venom, and then we have Doom and Shazam against Team Bruce.
Hulk and Batman.
So we didn't really talk about that one, did we?
No, so let's talk about that. So we have Shazam. I think he can go toe to toe with the Hulk.
Yeah.
But can he go toe-to-toe with Batman?
Can Doom take out both of them?
Negative.
I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna let the voters. We're gonna let the viewers vote.
Yes.
The viewers and listeners can vote again on our Facebook page or on this video right now. Just put who you want to see win with each matchup, and then as we go along, we'll make a couple of little images after we get through this round. We're gonna probably do like a little voting thing for the final two teams on our Twitter, on our Facebook page. We'll be doing some interesting stuff there.
Nice.
But very quickly before we go into the countdown. Oh, Lindsay Pierce is saying, shout out to Kevin. What's up?
What's up? What's up?
I think
You
everyone
guys
listen
have
to the
me
audio.
hanging. It's all we're all supposed to go. What's up?
I can't do that. I'm not yelling. Okay, you want to talk about a dated reference from over like almost 20 years ago.
Oh man.
But speaking of, did you ever see the Super Friends version of that cartoon was up?
No, I did not.
Okay, I'll send that to you later. But again,
So what are we moving on to next?
we're moving on to a certain Disney movie that has been made into live action, and then get into the countdown because we're already like 30 minutes in. So let's talk a little bit about this film called Beauty and the Beast.
So what do you guys think?
So anyone that grew up on Disney, in the 90s has, I believe it came out in 92, something like that, the animated film. It's probably one of Disney's best, adaptations of a book. I loved it. I love the animated flick. I have not seen the live action version. You have not seen the live
I
action.
have.
KB
Wife
has.
dragged me to it.
Okay,
Swear to
well,
It's fantastic. Really, really good. Like the animation was
Yeah.
just they went above and beyond with the animation. My only tiny little complaint about the movie was there's the scene where, because it really follows well to the
so
animated,
no necessarily, unless you haven't seen the animated
unless you haven't seen
flick,
the animated movie,
spoilers.
But there's the scene where he's defending her from the wolves attacking. And the wolves, when they roll around, they look a little cheesy, kind of ruggish. But beyond that, fantastic. That was the only animation complaint that I had.
And you know what's
Everything
crazy?
else was good.
How many werewolf movies have we seen? Like they should
Something
have
like that,
werewolves mastered by now. You know?
Yeah. And then, I mean, they're just regular like snow wolves or whatever. But
I want to ask you how easy was it to kind of dismiss Emma Watson as Hermione and actually like see her as Belle?
it was pretty easy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I don't know.
she did really well. I mean, it's very musical, just like the animated movie. And I can honestly say, like, it's a long movie. It's like what, 2 hours? I think 2:15 or something like that. Did not feel like it. Really did not feel like it.
That's awesome.
My hero in the movie is Felipe the horse. Okay, like Felipe the horse is the man in that movie. If it wasn't for Felipe, if you think about it, none of this stuff happens. So
Lumiere was always my favorite.
I'm saying as far as this movie, like, and just making it go, like the horse, like when the father gets lost in the woods,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, the horse rescues him, and the horse is the one that goes and gets Belle and brings her back to the castle to find the father. So without Felipe, there's no movie.
That's true.
As strange as that sounds, but no, it was fantastic. Guys, feel free to I'll give it the guy approval for a date night. You know what I mean?
Thumbs up.
Like if your wife wants to go. You'll be fine.
Or your girlfriend.
Yep, or your girlfriend or whatever.
Or your boyfriend.
Oh, yep.
We're all inclusive
We're,
here.
we're
all
PC here.
Yeah, whatever.
Don't be ashamed. You
If
go by
somebody-
yourself.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
I do
It
that.
was really good. So
So I have a funny little question.
Yeah.
So if we worked in the Beast Mansion and we were transformed, what do you think you'd be turned into?
Ooh, that's a good question. All right. I'm going to say for me, I'd probably turn into a lazy boy.
He said it. That's crazy.
he's like, that's what I was thinking.
Well, I'm just,
He's like,
I'm
I'm
not-
comfortable. Come here.
I'm comfortable. I'm laid back. I'm chill.
What if
I'm
the
like,
Beast,
all right.
like you'd get fart on all the time, like all the time.
Have we not seen the show? You guys do that to me all the time.
Yes.
Speaking of Dazzler and all this stuff, I get
Dazzler.
You get your Dazzler action figure
I
yet?
get pooped on all the time on my own show.
Oh.
So, no, but okay, same question to you guys then. Go for it.
I'm tall and thin. I would be a coat holder.
Okay, so
It's simple. I mean, just
So coat
Come
holder,
on in.
lazy boy.
you're somewhere in between lazy boy and coat holder.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. What would I be? I would probably be something like a vacuum cleaner.
because you both suck and blow at the same time.
Hey, my God.
You know what? I pick on Jay Free so much.
That was a softball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's a
we
good
can let it
sound.
go.
You're gonna be a sound effects guy now.
Oh man. Da-da-da-da-da.
Brian says Donnie is a video game console.
I would
That's
be.
actually pretty good.
Oh man, that's so awesome.
You talk, it's like a PlayStation 1, the flap
Yeah.
goes up and down.
Oh man, my first PlayStation 1 was bootleg. It was a Japanese import, and I had to keep
Go
it
Google
open. I literally had to keep the top open to get it to work. It was pretty awesome. though.
So are we ready to do the final countdown, guys?
You know what I want to talk about real quick?
Let's do it.
So we were talking about Netflix shows earlier, right?
Yep.
And
There's a lot. They're doing a lot.
this is what's awesome. You guys know that I'm a big fan of anime. And there's this specific anime called Death Note that is getting its own live action version on Netflix.
Well, there you go.
An animated series coming live.
So
Netflix.
basically, it's a series, an animated series that you hold near and dear to your heart, that is now being made into live action specifically
But by
for
Netflix.
By Netflix.
That's
which
awesome.
counts in a little segment we like to call the final countdown.
It's the final countdown. The final countdown. Yeah. Whoa.
And as Don previously mentioned, the topic of this final countdown is our top 3 animated series or films we'd like to see adapted into live action. So we're going to start with number 3. Per usual, Don's going to kick it off, and we're going to go through them. And so I'm going to say a little bit of something when I get to my list, but I want you to start off and go for it.
All right. Big fan of 90s Fox cartoons.
Oh, any honorable mentions?
Honorable mentions, Sailor Moon. I don't know
Okay.
if you
Okay, I
guys
can-
will.
Okay, yeah.
I also want to point out that I think you and we're all going to have very similar lists.
I
which
don't
is
think
gonna-
so.
We'll see.
I don't think
I
so.
honestly don't know if you guys. I mean,
We're
one
gonna-
of mine's on the table, but that's not number 3. We'll get to
Yeah.
that show.
All right, let's
But,
do this.
Number 3, This specific series brings me back to maybe 3rd grade, and from that point on, actually maybe even earlier than 3rd grade, I'm talking about floppy disks on Apple computers, like one computer in a like in my whole school, I think, and they made a cartoon out of it. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
That would actually be really, really cool.
That
That's a good
TV
one.
show was awesome. The game was awesome. There was even a game show.
Yep, I remember the game
and they'd
show.
be like, "Hey, Gumshoes, Carmen Sandiego's eating a baguette right now, wearing a beret. Where is she? Carmen's in Paris." But this cartoon took place with these 2 detectives who actually they're younger siblings, brother and sister, and Carmen's going around the world stealing famous artifacts and whatnot to always have some sort of plan to, I don't know, like not really end the world. I don't really know what her master plan was, but it was to take down some sort of establishment, and she would leave little clues behind to where she would be going next, and these brother and sister would have to like talk to us. Actually, she would like they would be like, "So Gumshoe, we noticed that there was sand and a little stone, and it looked like a hieroglyphic. Is Carmen in Russia, Lithuania, or Egypt?"
They were
And you'd be
tricking
like,
you into being educated.
like, she's in Egypt. That's the pyramid of Egypt. And like I would sit there and I would like spaz out and talk, and I've always loved history and
Yep.
geography and everything. So to like get this show would literally, like you said, trick you
Yeah.
into learning. And this show would like not contend with, because I felt like if you watched Fox Saturday morning cartoons in the 90s, you loved everything from first show to last
Yeah.
show.
There wasn't any duds.
You know what I mean? It was spot on. So I mean, Spider-Man was on, Batman was on, X-Men were on. I know you didn't like the Rangers, but the Rangers were on.
Yeah.
All this was in that time period, and I loved this show. The show was always a standout to me with some of my other favorite shows. So I'd love to see that in like a live action grown-up movie of it.
So that's
Oh,
Don's getting a little animated himself.
and I'm gonna have to switch my stuff
Dun,
up.
dun, dun. All right, so is that your number 3?
That was number 3.
Okay. KB, let's do your number 3.
Well, honorable mention first. Samurai Jack.
Can I mention something?
Yeah.
Do you know that Samurai Jack is in the aftermath of Powerpuff Girls?
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Look at the landscapes.
Really?
You can see a destroyed world of Powerpuff. I can't even think of. Oh, I used to love Powerpuff
Yeah.
Girls.
But Samurai Jack, fantastic animation. Story is really awesome. You have this samurai who's like fighting this. What do we call Aku? Like a demon? He's like what is he?
I like a demon.
Demon. But basically, like Aku's trying to take over the world, and I like now it just came back on the air after being off for how long? Like years. It's
I
been
want to
off
say
for-
almost a decade.
Yeah, it's been off for a long time, but season 5 just started a couple weeks ago, and I started watching
Wow,
it.
I
It's
gotta jump back
fantastic.
in.
But it's just a fantastic show. So that's my honorable mention. But my number 3 pick, I have to go with this one because this show was always like dear to my heart, and that was Thundercats.
Oh my god.
Thundercats to me, like, and there's been rumor, like for the past few years, there was rumor of like a Thundercats movie. I'm always looking for, are there new rumors of the Thundercats movie? Because just the characters like Lion-O, Snarf, Chitara, Panthro,
Panthro.
like Tigra, Wily Kit and Wily Cat,
Yep.
and Mumra. Like Mumra to me was just like he was a scary villain as a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just his look or the head dressing or what, but the voice, but to me he was like a scary kind of villain.
Everything about him was scary.
Yeah, everything about him was scary. And Snarf was that comic relief. And then
Snarf.
I remember, Wily Kit and Wily Cat getting in trouble, doing things they're not supposed to do,
Yeah.
and then them getting rescued and stuff like that. So
Panthro was
and
my dude.
every character just like, it's kind of like He-Man, where every character is sticks out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Every single character sticks out. Like when I think of something like G.I. Joe, there's so many characters, I kind of get lost with some of them. I can't remember all of them. Transformers, same thing. Like, yes, there's lots of Transformers. There's lots of popular ones, but there's so many that you can't remember.
Yeah.
I felt like with Thundercats, it was like every character you kind of remember and and there's something very unique and appealing about them. So that's why they're my number 3, because I'd really love to see that stuff like on the big screen. I think that'd be awesome. So
Yeah.
yep, that's my number 3.
Can I say something real quick? before I had any WWE action figures, the Thundercats action figures were my wrestling
love
guys.
those.
Like they were so well
The original
made.
ones, they
The
were
original,
hefty.
They had the button on the
Yep, the
back.
button on the back, the Panther's arms
Yeah.
swing. Yes, yeah, they
So
were really cool.
That's what I use for my wrestling figures.
Very cool, very cool. So
Be the Bushwhackers.
Yeah.
I want to go in real quick and just say, because I want to kind of clarify what I perceive to be live
Yeah.
action, because Beauty and the
talked
Beast
about
to me
this,
is typically not a live action film because it uses special effects and animation and CGI. Live action to me is taking it, for example, G.I. Joe, that KB just mentioned, is typically live action because you're used to comic books and cartoons. Now you have humans playing every single part. There's no special effects or CGI to do that. I mean, you can still use special effects for explosions and fighting and stuff, but no characters, in my opinion, should be a CGI character.
So does Transformers not count?
See, that's for me, no, but that's where the kind of the line is because there is
Okay.
human people that are in Who Framed Roger Rabbit
Yeah.
isn't considered a technical live action film, even though there's human counterparts.
That movie was awesome.
Yeah.
I love that movie. But again, so it's a fine line on what's considered live animation or live action versus live animation. So there's a little bit of difference. All my picks are going to be where I could see a human playing a human being, no CGI characters.
He
in
couldn't do
any of the-
DuckTales. He was very upset.
Yeah, I wanted to do DuckTales.
How was
It's like
it
nobody
bro?
would be wearing any pants.
You'd have to actually use real ducks.
Yeah. Well, oh no. That's,
You know what I mean? Like that to me is like, or unless you want to dress up humans as ducks.
Yeah. How would the Duck Man?
Yeah. But again, so my number 3 is a series that ran from 1990 to 1996. This was a cartoon that had a lot of heart and earth, fire, wind, and water. Gaia, the spirit. Yeah, you can do it.
He's our hero, gonna take pollution down to zero.
So my number 3.
Didn't you have Captain Planet in a previous countdown?
I probably did. I love Captain Planet. I
Go,
could see-
Planeteers, go!
And I think it would be set like in this overly PC world right now.
Yeah.
I think it would be a perfect live action film because you could have a multi-ethnic cast. Because Kwame was from Ghana, Africa, the power of Earth to control the Earth, earthquakes. Wheeler was from Brooklyn, New York. Linka was
Talk about Wheeler real quick.
right. Okay, so you could play Wheeler.
Fire.
Yeah, had the power of fire with his power ring. Linka was from Eastern Europe.
She was my fave.
She controlled the power of wind. Guy from Asia, the power of water.
Yep.
And then
Mati.
Mati from Brazil with the power of heart.
Dude, I'm so glad you
I
brought
would
this
love
show
to,
up.
and then you combine that together and you make a real life superhero. Plus, I always had a little crush when I was like a little kid on what's her name, Dr. Blight, the blonde that had half the scarred face. I thought she was so sexy when I was like 6 years old.
Cartoon.
I know, but I was 6 years old. I didn't know.
Jeffrey had a lot of crushes.
She's no Jessica Rabbit. I mean,
But no, that's true. But here's the kicker. Apparently, Leonardo DiCaprio is actually planning a live action movie at this,
well, of course he is because he's such an advocate for global warming and
protecting
what's
the
going
Earth.
on.
It could send a positive message with
I'm right behind that. 100%.
So that's my number 3, Captain Planet.
Can I tell you my favorite episode of Captain Planet?
Go for it.
So, again, I'm obsessed with these shows. Do you remember when they made the anti Captain Planet rings? They
Yes.
Smog, whatever else it was. They made the anti Captain Planet. That was the best episode. It was actually a two-parter, I believe. Where the first episode is where they steal the rings, they make the rings, they bring the nasty Captain Planet who just is like wreaking havoc. Second set of the episodes, they get the rings back, they get our boy Captain Planet back. Well, I want to say like Captain Planet is still summoned and like they clean all the pollution off
Yep.
him and he's like,
and they save the day.
This is a good one. Lindsay had Rugrats.
Okay, let's. Yeah,
Dun,
I
dun,
want to
dun,
keep away from the comments right now
Okay.
because
we'll keep it
I
rolling.
love the comments. We'll go through that, and I love you, but you're giving away some of my picks, and I don't want to.
That's awesome.
moving on
Moving
to
on to
Don's
number
number two.
2.
Well, Jonathan, I gotta tell you, you spoiled my number one. So my number one's now my number 2. So years ago, they went and ruined my favorite anime of all time by making Dragon Ball Evolution, which was the worst movie, period, I've ever seen, period. I've seen, Jonathan, I believe that once I say this, you're going to be like, hell yeah, I've seen them too. There are 2 fan films out, Dragon Ball Z fan films, that one of them takes the Saiyan saga, another one takes the Cell saga. These fan films put the Dragon Ball Evolution Hollywood movie to shame, okay? way back since I watched the second or third Matrix movie, I sat there and watched and I said, they can do Dragon Ball Z now. 100% we can get a Dragon Ball Z movie. We can get, I don't want to see a Saiyan Saga movie. The Saiyan Saga was incredible, but my favorite character in Dragon Ball Z is Vegeta. I want like a little background story on Saiyan Saga. I want him to jump right into the Frieza Saga where we get our Vegeta teaming up with Goku, and then, obviously there's still like the hostility there, but like I wish you guys had seen this because I feel like I'm talking gibberish to you guys, but it is such a powerful saga, the Frieza Saga, and then I guarantee that movie would do good. It could roll over into, History of Trunks, Android Saga, Cell Saga. Like, this could be a multi-movie thing, but they ruined it with freaking Dragon Ball Evolution. They made... Oh my God! I don't even want to talk about that movie. That movie
You're getting very upset. So
because they ruined, you guys don't understand. Like, Dragon Ball Z is one of the simplest animes to follow, and it's incredible. And then we finally got our shot. That, I remember them promoting it. They used Justin Chatwin to be Goku, and it was horrendous. This movie was horrendous. And yeah, that's it.
No, keep going.
It was just awful. I couldn't stand it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. But
really
your number 2 pick
is
I love
Dragon Ball Z.
This is what I love how passionate you get, and I think I want to do a whole segment where you just talk about something, and KB and I are going to sit here and just be like,
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Home Alone.
Yeah, we'll Kevin McAllister that. Absolutely. KB, just go with number 2.
My number 2 is Voltron.
That was going to be on my list.
I'm not going to go too far into Voltron. I think anybody who's even seen Voltron once kind of knows the idea of it. You have these 5 kids, kind of similar to Power Rangers in a way, right?
Just better.
Basically, it's Power Rangers before Power Rangers,
yeah.
Essentially. Except you're kind of fighting other giant robots in space rather than on a planet. It was just one of my favorite things as a child. The cartoon, I don't remember a lot of the cartoon. I haven't watched the newer ones, but it was like one of my favorite toys as a child.
Yeah.
And that's what's just like, I would love to just see this thing in real life. We've done Transformers. We're about to do Power Rangers with Zords. So I feel like Voltron's it needs its place in live movies with these other, legendary animated things that have become live movies. So that's why Voltron's definitely on my list. So that's my number 2 for Voltron.
All right. Quickly, Jonathan already touched upon my number 2, and he might be, I don't know if you guys have it. Let's get there. But it's a series that ran from 1994 to 1997. So in 994 Scotland, creatures living in a castle turn to stone during the daylight hours, betrayed by humans and frozen in stone form until the castle rises above the clouds. And then in 1994, billionaire David Xanatos purchases that castle, and he reconstructs it on his New York City skyscraper, and the creatures awaken, and they're known as gargoyles.
That was a Disney show.
Oh, I forgot about
Yeah,
gargoyles.
and it's fantastic. And again, we've seen what they can do in Guardians of the Galaxy with Drax and Gamora as far as makeup and special effects. And again, it's not a CGI character, so I think they could do the same thing for example, Goliath and Hudson, Brooklyn, all named after New York streets, and Lexington, Broadway, and Bronx. And then you could have the human aspect with Eliza Maza, I believe it was her name. I can't remember. She's the female NYPD officer that's like the human partner or kind of like sidekick of the gargoyle. She's
Who did
their
they
accomplice.
fight? Who were their primary
There's other
enemies?
gargoyles. They fight evil corporations. Xanatos, I think, is a bad guy at certain points. I used to love that show when I was a kid, and I haven't rewatched it. But that's my number 2. So
All right.
I think that'd be awesome. But moving on to number 1.
Number 1 ties in everything that I love: cartoons, video games. My wish to get pulled into a video game. My number 1 is Captain N, the Game Master. Captain N, the Game Master takes place in a world called Video Land or something. This kid who's just a beast at playing video games. Kid's name's Kevin. The show starts off. Show starts off, And you see like just the kid's like feet kicked up. He's playing Nintendo, and his mom's like, "Kevin, you gotta clean your room." He's like, "Yeah, I'm on a minute." And then
That sounds just like me. I was just like that when I was a kid.
this kid gets sucked into his Nintendo with his controller and his Nintendo Zapper, and his
He didn't have like a power glove. Did he have a power glove?
that comes later on.
Ah, see.
It comes later on. So he gets pulled into the world by Simon from Castlevania and the princess from Castlevania, and they're like, "Listen, we're in this war against Mother Brain. This is like
Remember Mother Brain, yeah.
yeah, this is our little team right here: Mega Man, Kid Icarus, Simon, Captain." And
It was
the
a way
Game
for
Master.
Nintendo to try to branch out those characters at the time to get people to buy games and whatnot.
And that's what
Yep.
they would do. They
Yep.
would like preview, like not preview, like they would tie in new games into the,
Yeah.
the series. Game Boy came out when
With
the
that,
series
yeah.
was out, and Game Boy was a character.
Question.
Like
I'm going to add a question to our number ones on the
All
fly
right.
here. Who would you want to direct it?
Oh, you're killing me.
I could go wicked dark with this. Who would I want to? Who directed?
Yeah, you're gonna have to look this up, KB. Now.
Yeah, I really don't know because I wouldn't want like a Michael Bay type craziness. I would want who directed Lord of the Rings.
Peter Jackson?
Peter
Peter
Jackson.
That's where I
That's
would go.
probably a good one
That's where I would go with
for that.
this.
For that kind, I can see that.
You know, because trust me, like there's a lot of fantasy in it. He goes into Hyrule. You know, I don't think they touch on the Mario Brothers so much because Mario
Mario was
Bros.
doing. He's kind of doing its own thing with the movie and they
Yeah.
had a cartoon and all that stuff. So yeah, they
But I
weren't
mean,
doing much with Mario.
we went in the world of Metroid. We went up against Dr. Wily in the show,
Seeing
which you guys
Samus
know is from.
and-
Yeah,
yeah.
we went against Count Dracula. So all the stuff was in there. So you'd get these crazy different. Wait, didn't he do Avatar as well?
Yeah.
Then-
No. He didn't do Avatar.
Who did Avatar?
That was Spielberg, wasn't it? Yeah.
I would
No,
like a-
was it? Or was it James Cameron?
James Cameron.
Yeah,
That's
I
why-
knew it was one of those real big guys
Yeah,
that did it.
there's
was-
mine.
Yeah.
There's my pick.
Okay, so Cameron would be a good one too.
All right, number one.
My number
Great
one,
pick.
Afro Samurai. Gotta be the number one samurai. Afro Samurai is just amazing. Like, are you laughing because it's amazing? Or are you laughing because
it's
It's-
crazy.
it's
I didn't
crazy.
expect that to come out.
okay? Like just in the cast, even in the cartoon, Samuel L. Jackson, Ron Perlman, Lucy Liu, Mark Hamill. Like it was a beast, and it was weird because it was like a little mini series. It went on for like 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was like one was a mini series and one was a movie. Like the first season was the first was a TV season, and the second one was a movie. And it's just so Tarantino.
Yeah.
It has Tarantino written all over it. So basically, the story is Afro Samurai. He's a kid. His father, the samurais have these headbands.
Yeah.
So 1 through I think like 10 or whatever. And if you whatever headband you have, you can challenge the next person in front of you. So the only way to challenge for the number 1 headband to be the number 1 samurai is you have to get the number 2.
Yeah.
So his father dies, and basically, has this like head chopped off by this other character. What was the guy's name? I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Justice. So Justice basically cuts off his head, and Afro's a kid, and he's like, "When it's time, you come and find me." You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when you're ready, you come and find me. And he gives him the number 2. So you have this little kid walking around with his number 2 headband that everybody's after. But he becomes this great samurai and stuff, and it's just so like amazing. The story is just fantastic because everybody's after him. 'Cause once he becomes the number 1, everybody's after him. He loses the number 1. A lot of characters from his past come back, and you find all these crazy characters. There's the what were they called? The Brothers 7, I think it was, or the Empty 7. The Empty 7, where it was like 7 brothers that were always trying to kill him, and it's like this kind of like Samurai Jack. This what am I looking for? Like samurai but futuristic
Yeah.
world, and it's just mind blowing. I would really love to see something like that. I don't think we've had any movies that kind of mix that samurai universe with the sci-fi universe. I don't think we've had any
No.
like that.
Not
so
that
I
I
would,
can picture.
yeah, because there's a lot of stuff like that now out there. So that's definitely my number 1. I would kill to see that live. Jay Freeze figuring out his director.
Yeah, I was trying to look up who my favorite directors were. So you said Tarantino would be yours?
That would be mine for Afro Samurai. Yeah.
If I could pick anybody, I'd probably get. I don't know who I'd get for mine. Maybe Tarantino wouldn't be bad. I'd probably do maybe Ridley Scott for my number one.
Oh, where are you
Oh.
going with number one?
I don't know. Mine's a little different. I don't know. I even say Christopher Nolan, but I feel it's a retread. Actually, you know who I'd want to direct mine? My buddy Rich Marini. Rich Marini, you can direct my film. You got to just have to do it justice, and I need to be a
Afro
consultant.
versus Jack. I would love that.
So,
That would be sick.
as you mentioned, you started listing. Jonathan already mentioned my number one pick. He mentioned all three of my picks, by the way. So we're gonna go there in a second. Don't give it away once you figure it out. But you mentioned earlier as you were going through, you talked about Saturday morning cartoons, the X-Men and Batman. I've excluded all those because we've already seen different iterations of that in live action. However, there's a caveat here. This series ran from 1999 to 2001. In 2019, an older Bruce Wayne has a heart attack while fighting crime. And then later on, 20 years later, in 2039, during a high-speed motorcycle chase, it brings Terry McGinnis to Wayne Manor. Terry discovers Bruce's secret, and Terry's father is killed for discovering the production of illegal chemical weapons at Bruce's former business. Evidence that Terry found is then taken from him, so he ends up donning the bat suit to fight crime. And he eventually becomes Batman Beyond. And I would love to see that in a live action film. I know, again, we haven't
Have
seen
like an
that.
old man Logan vibe.
No, speaking of, not the old man look, you know who I could see playing an older Bruce Wayne? Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood.
I would love to see
Yeah,
him play the
that'd be good.
old Bruce Wayne.
And you said Ridley Scott?
Yeah, I'm thinking something more like futuristic. I don't want to go Zack Snyder because I really like the Watchmen movie, but like
It gets a little bit dark.
Yeah,
and I think
yeah.
Batman Beyond.
Well, it's a really
little
dark
brighter
series
than-
because
well, it's-
Terry McGinnis's real heritage is later found out in Justice League Unlimited. Do you know this whole thing?
No, I'm saving a question for you.
Do you want to do the question now, or do you want me to?
No, I want
Okay.
to go.
So basically, Amanda Waller figures out that I don't want to live in a world without Batman because Batman's such a vital part. She ends up using her resources at Cadmus to take his DNA and inject it into Terry's biological father. So Bruce is technically Terry's biological father in the series.
Who do you see playing Terry?
That is a great question. That is a real good question. Young kid, like around 16, 17 years old, roughly. That's a real good question. I don't know. You know, I'd hate to say it this way. I could see he's a little bit older now. Even if they do a little bit more grizzled, I don't want to even say like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, maybe as later on, because I think that would kind of cool to tie into the Nolan universe. But
That
a
would be
younger kid, do you have somebody in mind?
No, well, if he was younger, have you guys ever watched?
Michael Keaton is
Yeah,
Bruce Wayne.
John Viveris,
Yeah.
Michael Keaton.
That'd be
That's
cool.
never mind. Take Clint Eastwood, put him other. Yeah, go Keaton.
That would actually be really cool
It'd
if
be a
they tied
cool
that
tie.
in. You know the Divergent series? I think that's what's called, Divergent. And so the guy who always like flops sides with her, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know the character,
He's in
but
the Paz movie,
yeah.
like the Vinny Paz movie, but he's already old now. He was in War Dogs too, or whatever. But I could see him fit into that role. Granted, my friend Joey Whip is not watching right now.
Chandler Riggs.
Chandler, I would be down for
That's
that.
actually
In another
not a
year or
bad
two,
idea.
in another
Yeah.
year or two, I would absolutely be.
By
down
the
for
time
that.
they'd roll something like this out. Yeah.
That'd be really cool. I just got thrown off.
So-
My friend Joey Whip.
yeah.
He's obviously I want to say a year behind me, but he looks like Batman Beyond. I want you guys to look up later on. You're like,
Okay.
wow, that could totally be him.
Yeah, we'll look at it after we get off the air.
But real quick, funny thing is, could you guys imagine if they did show the Boondocks in live action?
That would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
But yeah, that was a.
That was-
I kind of like Lindsay's Rugrats idea. I think that's
Yeah.
that's
a good. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was just how can you
kind of already done though. Like remember Look Who's Talking? I
Yeah.
mean not from cartoons, but
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, great countdown, guys.
actually speaking
was
of
fun.
speaking of Rugrats, I'm kind of excited for Boss Baby. It's like
Oh,
that's
the-
coming
the
out
baby
the end of the
and
month.
the older
yeah.
brother going up against
Alec
the dogs.
Baldwin, man, Alec Baldwin. So I'm super psyched for that actually.
Stoked.
Very
Put
cool,
that
very cool.
cookie down. Cookies
Now
for
I'm
closers.
Batman. Michael Keaton's like, hey, I'm Batman.
You want to get nuts?
You want to get crazy?
So awesome. They could do a really good Return of the Joker. And then I don't know what even if Mark Hamill does the voice, I'd be down for that.
Come on, Batsy. Let's get crazy.
So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get out of here, we're gonna do, oddly enough, with Batman. Call it the Bat Signal. Oh, I'm wearing a Red Hood hat, by the way, too. We can totally. I'm all in the Batman realm today. So let's talk about anything we want to plug. I know you want to plug. Let's plug some stuff.
Wow. So yeah, with me working a new job, Corey working nights, it's been tough for us to do Geekasmic, but we're jumping back on this week. I recently jumped into I downloaded Steam. I've been playing Dead by Daylight game's crazy. I'm also KB and I were talking before we went on. I'm playing Killing Floor 2. It's like the demo is like for until the 28th. Game's incredible. I've been doing that. I also told you guys off air about the amazing T-shirt I saw. I want to give the guy a shout out.
Go for it.
His Facebook is I want to call it's Expose Design. You can check it out. Like there's a bunch of them, but his is a guy's eye. Like guy makes awesome T-shirts. I told you guys that he had a Game of Thrones Star Wars mix-up shirt. It was Winter is Coming with the AT-AT walking on it. What is that? That's usually what I say. Go eat at Tap House. Go have breakfast at Java House. It's good food, good people. Shout out to Jay Preview, Jeff Priest, you're the man, bro.
Yeah, he is the man. I was trying to get him on. It didn't work out scheduling wise, but that is Expose Design. It's EXPOSE.
Yes.
Design DESIGN, and it is just a guy's eye. It's a business. It's from Portland, Maine. So check out their page. I'm gonna like their page right now, live on the air. Check them out. They're really, really cool. KB, what else you got to plug?
Covers of the week, as
So
always.
on our Facebook page, For You Geek Podcast
some
on
awesome
Facebook.
Venom. Had a nice Spider-Gwen Venomized cover.
I see.
There's some Venomized covers. That
So
have
yeah,
been
basically
coming out
they're taking the regular characters from all the Marvel titles and
give them a Venom makeover.
Rich is already
Sweet.
calling out for a Free Your Geek horror show. We'll get there, Rich. I think we might stick in the Disney realm next week. We'll figure it out though. I'll have a chat with you off air. But yeah, check out our Facebook page. I've been doing DC covers and alternate covers. So I have them all digital, so they always put the alternate covers in there, and I just do side by side shots and put them on there.
I still have to go old school.
Do you want to give our new friends a shout out too?
Go for it.
Do it your way.
Oh, okay. So I want to. We have plenty of new friends. Check out Game King. Game King. We want to be doing a live show there soon. We just got to work out all the minutia, the details. But if you're into any type of role playing games, tabletop games, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon. They have comic books. They have a huge comic book selection. They have collectibles, pops, action figures. They're based right here in our hometown, Fall River, Massachusetts. They're right down the road. We want to do a live show there a couple of times, just to kind of give them some love and check them out. Find them on Facebook, Game King. Like them. It's awesome. Our Twitter, our Instagram, for your geeks on those. I'm putting up, I have a page-a-day calendar, Marvel calendar. I put a different page up every day to check that out.
Reminds me of the Dilbert calendars.
Yeah.
And don't forget to get your votes in for the tournament.
Yeah, we're going to be putting that. So again, that tournament, you saw the display a little earlier, the image. We're going to put that image at the top of the screen on our Facebook page, on our Instagram page. Go in, vote in the comments, vote on this video. We're going to pull them all together and have the final two next week. So anything else?
No, that was awesome. That was a good plug session.
So so until next time, I guess we're gonna have to hit you with our catchphrases.
Start your weekend with your geek friends.
And get your geek on.
Bye, everybody.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.